Hello, all. My name is Narayan Dhakal, and thank you for giving this opportunity to present. So, I'm going to present today on religion, care for the environment. Being born and raised as a Hindu in Nepal, so I would talk more on how it it is doing in my lifetime. So, overview of my talk today is I'll talk about my early childhood and then the things I remember, and then student and professional life in Nepal and in USA, and after graduation, the uh, working profession and independent, being as an independent consultant and volunteer in different social organizations. So when I go back to my childhood, that I can remember that early in the morning before we eat meal, we used to feed a dog, a crow, and a cow, and we also had to offer some food for the snake guard. There was a camphor tree this, in our backyard, and then there was a small altar for snake guard, and we used to put some food over there as well. So that was the day-to-day core before we eat meal. And then the monthly there were a festival like religious festival, cultural festival, and then going to the relatives sometimes, inviting relatives to get together, having food, having puja, all those kind of things used to be there occasionally in the monthly basis. And yearly basis, there are a big festival like Durga festival and Tihar. And Tihar, we used to worship a dog, a cow, and a crow. So these three in three different days, these each species we used to be worshipped as an incarnation of God. Or there is a story that I cannot elaborate all because of time constraint, but they used to do that back there. Reaching to the heaven, like I can remember early in the morning when I wake up, there is a flower called parijat, and in our garden just about 15 or 16 yards from my house window, that tree was blooming there, and then all the ground was full of that flower, and then it smelled so good. And then early in the morning, I get that smell, and then see the house sparrow and the pigeon grazing in the lawn or in our front yard, and then eating their food and making noises. And then that was my awakening in the morning when we were child. And this particular flower was my mom used to tell this flower was God bring to the from the heaven to the earth. So it is a very nice and smellful flower, and it drops so highly, intensely in the ground, and sometimes that some person who was walking on the road on the walking trail, they call us that, hey, how you guys are doing with this flower? Should I step it or should I collect it or what should I do? And then we used to tell the person that there is a the broom just right there, and then there is a broom, just swipe it out and then go in your way. So that was that kind of thing that was happening at that time. So there is a whole household was a ecosystem. There was a snake, frog, gecko, moth, cat, uh, mouse, pigeon. So all together they were making their activity there. And then the whole thing is there is a we used to grow rice, wheat, corn, and then different type of vegetable, and then all those agricultural product was their food also. And once in a while there is a jungle cat who come to our house and then hunt for the rat and pigeon. And then the middle of the night, every pigeon just fly out and making noise. And following day, there you can see some of the feather that some pigeon was taken by jungle cat. And then once in a while we heard a sound of a frog crying in a garden in the middle of the night, and then we used to say maybe snake is eating the frog. And then once in a while we could see a small saber snake climbing in our kitchen wall, and then we as a kid we used to scare a bit, and then my mom used to light some incense and then saying, "Oh, snake god came in household, so don't touch it," kind of thing, and then the snake goes somewhere, and we never figured out where did it come from and where did it go, but we could have. I can recall a couple of incidents that we observed snake, and later I realized that maybe for the gecko that they were hunting, because they were not big enough to hunt for the frog, and they were hunting for the gecko so that they traveled in our house. So the whole household was a kind of ecosystem, and then we could observe the how ecological process going on there. And in our culture and religion, the plants were venerated, and plants were worshipped. Plants were used for different religious festivals. So these are the list of plants that I can remember. Those are used for the religious purpose, and then also sometimes in a medicine and food. So there is a 17 list of plants that I can remember we used to work with or intermittently using some one way or another. So this is a basil plant that is worshipped as a god, and then also used for the medicinal herbs. So we also worship as elements: air, water, fire, soil, and space, sky. So all these are part of the element, and then we used to consider as a source of God and power. And in fact, my mom used to tell that life is what is five elements. We are made out of five elements, and we are later merged into five elements. So my mom died when I was 13, and then I was responsible for doing all her after-death religious work. And then during that cremation, I could visualize what she was telling. Life is five elements, and then five elements. I was an observer that all five elements going to merging to the five elements when during her cremation. So that was the story, and then these five elements is highly regarded in our culture and life. So we worship these as a god. And there is an animal and worshipped in a idol form. The elephant, baby elephant, is considered as a Ganesh, the lord of goodwill. And then the elephant, I have played with the elephant baby for many times, because in our office we had a six working elephant, because elephants were used for the jungle work. And then all those were female elephant, and then they breed with male wild elephant and have baby. So the baby just play around in the office yard, and then it was so beautiful to watch. And this is a wild boar. Wild boar is also incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and then people worship that. Bara was able to save earth from when it was merging into the water, and then it rescued in his head. So Bara is considered as a god of power and saving earth, and then incarnation of Vishnu. Another is a bird. It called like golden eagle, and it is also considered as a vehicle of Lord Vishnu, and this bird is venerated, and then also worship as a god, Dhakal of Vishnu. This is a statue. It was located in Kathmandu Darbar Square, but I don't know whether that is still exists or not after this earthquake. And another form of worship was the female god, and Ma Durga, Saraswati, and Lakshmi. All these gods were power of god of power, god of wisdom, and god of wealth. So all these are female god and then highly venerated. And then the tiger is one of the species that the strongest women god was to ride. And every temple you can see female god riding on a tiger. So it gives some kind of ecological importance of how important tiger is. And Saraswati is riding on a swan. So my father used to tell a story that swan has an acidic tongue. When it drink milk, if it drink milk, that it separates water and milk. So if you are educated, if you are knowledgeable, the knowledge was, the education was, you have to be able to separate lies and truth. You have to be able to separate wrong and right. So that's why we worship this education god as a Saraswati. And another is Lakshmi, that she is a god of wealth, and she rides on owl. An owl makes noise during the night. So if there is some intruder in your house coming, owl make noise. That means you should be alert. So and that bird is a female god. Lakshmi ride on that bird. So that gives some kind of importance that how these species, how these birds and animals were important in our religion, in our culture, and how the god using them as their vehicle, as giving them importance, cultural importance of those species. So I'll talk about my profession in the conservation. I was from 1985 to 19 up until now. I'm constantly working in conservation and helping with the people. In Nepal, we heavily involved in integrated conservation and economic development because since there is poor people everywhere, without economic freedom, without economic incentive, you cannot achieve, you cannot ensure conservation. So one of the reason we were heavily introduced that integrated conservation economic development in our project that I used to work with Kingman Trust for Nature Conservation. It was a huge non-profit, quasi-non-profit organization, quasi-governmental organization, and then it has a very international board. And then we did a very profound work while working there. And in fact, we were the pioneer of developing integrated conservation and development project. We worked in Annapurna conservation area and several villages there, introduce ecotourism, teach people how to earn money by saving the environment. We also work in Chitona and Bardea National Park in the buffer zone with the people and develop their capacity to plant tree and develop community forestry and make their living and then earn revenue. So we, in fact, we supported 15,000 acre of highly degraded forest to the lost green forest for the habitat for rhino and tiger. So if we would not have intervened that in a community forest, it would have gone as a desert by now. So I can feel very proud remembering those projects and activities with the directly with the local communities, and we have been able to convince that community that what is the environment, what is the importance of the environment, and how environment helps them. And the villager over majority of villagers realize that conservation pays you back. If you conserve, if you destroy, it lost everything. but if you conserve, it pays you back. So we have been able to establish that kind of notion among the villagers. In terms of academia, I joined the University of Minnesota in 2004 and then completed my PhD in conservation biology. And I did my research on Padampur. Padampur was a village that was inside the national park, and then it relocated with the majority people's decision. And when it relocated, the community there, prior to resettlement, they were heavily engaged in agricultural work. And then later they became they have a fragmented land, and some money, some of them has money, some of them even they didn't have money, some were even landless. And then at least that resettlement project managed to give a piece of land so that they can feel they have land and they can build their house there. That arrangement was there, and then my research was to do the assessment that how economic well-being of people been after the resettlement, from totally agro-based to some caste-based and some agro-based economy. So I did intensive study there, and then people were happy coming to the new location and having that approximate, having living in approximate of the town and neighborhood, and then schooling, and then they send their children to school, and they do some minor agricultural work, and they earn their living. So that was a big project, and then I did my both master's and PhD research on that village, and then in terms of assessing their well-being, and I published an article with Society of Natural Resource, and also published a monograph. And I was also instrumental in developing experiential learning semester program to Nepal. And first project I was involved, taking students to Nepal and make them educate by themselves with interacting with the village community, local community, and how their livelihood became there while living with proximity with the biodiversity. In terms of social engagement, I was a member of a Society of Conservation Biology, and I chaired 2 years as a conservation and religion group, and then spread that message. I knew importance of conservation in my religion, and then share with the group at that time, and the significance of religion in biodiversity conservation. And I was a board of directors in CFAN, and then we used to meet and then educate some student, and then organize events that useful for the environment as well, and educating students, mentoring students on social work. And I was also advisor of Association of Nepalese in Minnesota. There is a group called Association of Nepalese in Minnesota, and they are doing cultural events and in cultural engagement and social gathering. And then I was an advisor there. I'm still board of directors of Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light. This organization is dedicated to spread climate action work, and reach out to faith community and educate them importance of nature, and then bring them into the mainstream of climate action and climate justice. And several faith communities are interestingly participate in the MNIPL events. And then we also oppose that Line 3 pipeline that is becoming very bad for the Native American culture, and then they are losing their natural ground, and then they are opposing that, and then MNIPL is helping them to maintain their natural environment intact. So that effort is there. And then I'm also a volunteer of MN 350 and contributing my ideas in food solutions and regenerative agriculture. The research I'm working with Bhutanese communities, and then whatever I got from the community consultation and conversation, I bring that to the discussion and conversation with them in 350, and we are working on regenerative agriculture and then how to switch that agricultural practice in Minnesota. May not be substantive, but even though it may be at a model level, like if you can do some kind of pilot project, some kind of experiment that how agriculture should work in terms of income and the environment. So that kind of effort is going on there. So I am taking part in every meeting and webinar and getting knowledge by myself and contributing what I have my experience working in Nepal. So that is there. And then I mentioned earlier, without economic freedom, no independency is work. And I work with minority community that how to make them able to work in agricultural product so that they can join their whole culture and tradition while making their economic progress. So that is going on there, and then if they are successful, and if we can work something on that to make those people, if they get some land and then start working, growing food, that would be a model that people can make their earning without disturbing environment, and they can produce responsibly, and they can maintain the natural environment as well. So we are working on that effort. Let's see how far it goes. My recent engagement is SCORE. SCORE is a high-level non-profit organization, and it has 11 million entrepreneurs since 1964, and it has an office in Twin Cities SCORE, and I am a volunteer there, and I provide advice and suggestion to the emerging entrepreneur, small entrepreneur on responsible business, that how to run a business and without disturbing the environment, and how to take care of each other like staff and then partner. Then it's not like making money tower, but it is looking horizontally and how every actors in the business are doing, and then sharing their stories and then developing a business along with that. So that is I am doing, and in this that there is interestingly like I am learning myself, and I'm also contributing that my experience from Nepal. So the whole business paradigm is being likely to be shifted, because the people there are thinking like they are not promoting their product that this is my product, buy, you have to buy that, but they are understanding that what is the problem in the with the customer or client, and then can I be a solution to their problem? Can I add some solution to their problem as a business, and then help them grow and help me grow? So that kind of attitude I have been experiencing while working with the school, and that has been interestingly I have been actively engaged there, and then I keep working. And right now I am mentoring 4 entrepreneurs, and then giving them advice whatever I know. The whole idea of mine to while I'm mentoring is to be a responsible entrepreneur. So who cares for the environment, who cares for the community, and who cares for the United States, and who cares for the people who are in need. So that type of business model that I am helping with, and then I mentor mentors along that line. So this is the score, and it's been a very excellent opportunity for me that having volunteer in score and then getting support from their network that there is a huge repository of information that if someone would like to be a entrepreneur, then they can either go to the score.org website and then see what is there and then get hands-on experience or ask to become a mentor. I mean, ask search for the mentor and then work from there. So there is an excellent opportunity for the emerging entrepreneur, for the small business, responsible business that is called can provide a tremendous benefit for them. So I look forward to work in this and then contribute to the community and to the economy so that I could play a role that catalytic role, in fact, like connecting people of different ethnicity and different race and working with each other. So that is what I'm doing. So I explain all those, the religion and then my work performance, and there are some punchline that I remember that is that I gained from my religion, like may all beings everywhere be happy and free. So that is something that we believe in. And may you be free from all disease and live 100 years with intact health. With intact health. You can live 100 years if there is a disease, then you have a problem. But if you live 100 years with intact and without the disease, then you have a profound knowledge base that you can share with younger generation. And every plant be our food and medicine. There is a quote from Ayurveda that Ayurveda say that every plant gives you medicine or food. These days, then if you can imagine in a climate change, that if you have a green tree, it sequesters carbon, so that is itself a medicine. So it is so we have to value the natural resource along that way. And food, water, and digestive power are trinity. So in Hinduism, there is a trinity. There is a main three God. It says Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. Brahma is God of creator. Vishnu is God of keeping the system, and then Shiva is God of destroyer. That everything has a if everything emerges and it has to go, it will diminish. So Shiva is responsible for that. And then this verse says that all these three God is within you. Food, water, and digestive power is within you. So there is a God inside you. So in Sanskrit it says, Annam Brahma Raso Vishnu Bhokta Devo Maheshwara. So that means all three God is managing your whole body system. So that is there, that kind of knowledge that I used to experience earlier, and then I applied these when I make decision and when I work with the community, when I work with the different people in my profession, in my volunteer, in my enterprise. I think this much is today, and thank you for your attention. And if there is any question, please feel free to ask me in my email. There is an email that dhak0002 at gmail.com. And I have my phone number also there listed there, 651-500-1096. Call me that if you have any question on my presentation. And there are so many stories I am interested to share. So if such kind of opportunity would be in the future, I'm very happy to participate and bring that topic in front of you. And if there is any theme along that line that you have to extrapolate, then I'm very happy to do that. So please keep in touch, and so I'll do that the same. And thank you very much for listening, and namaste. Goodbye.